Can we go back to the meetings? Got it. We are live, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. And to all, welcome on this September morning. A little bit in Port, it's a little bit damp out right now, but anyhow, it's not going to slow us down. Call our meeting to order. Time is approximately 10:10, morning of September the 13th. To the agenda, the disclosures of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof. Are there any to be disclosed?
No.
None?
No.
None thereof. Moving on. Adoption of the previous minutes of June 13th, 2022. Motion to accept.
I move to accept.
Happy to second.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Tom. Any discussion, any items in the minutes? None?
No.
Call for the vote to accept. Yes, Michelle? Tom?
Yes.
I also. So that's 3-0. Sir, do we have any delegations for this meeting? No delegations present. Moving on to new business. The event hosted by the City of St. Thomas, the Municipal Access Advisory Council. Sir, what report do we have on that? September 22nd, is that still a go for them?
Yep, absolutely. It is on the 22nd. So I did put together a quick PowerPoint presentation. If that's all right, I will share my screen and we can go through the just pull it up. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, perfect. So this is the first one, which is what we're talking about now. So yes, this is still taking place on September 22nd. It is between 1 to 3 p.m. that the event will actually be hosted. And so it's going to be at the St. Thomas Senior Center, which is at 225 Chestnut Street. So basically we have been able to touch base with Tracy a few times since talking about it initially. And it sounds like there's going to be roughly, I believe, 20 or so vendors, and it'll basically be a bunch of vendors that have information relating to accessibility. I know Alzheimer's Society is going. I know she had mentioned a couple different ones, I think, that are in the community. I believe there's going to be one that has to do with like when you get support dogs. I don't have the complete list though, so I will follow up with her probably actually to see if she has a complete list that I could get, just because I'm interested in knowing who's going to be there. And if you want, I can share that with the committee via email once I have the list from her. So I just wanted to ask which of you are interested in attending. I will be going. I believe, Diana, I think you're going. Yeah. We will have a table. So the table will have, we do have a door prize from Elgin County. Diana, I can't remember when we talked about this. Is Central Elgin also bringing a door prize, or are we just?
I was going to say that. I mean, I think we're prepared to do like a basket, like a gift basket. I don't know what is that in keeping? I kind of sense from Tracy that that's acceptable. We would just get some local products and put it into a gift basket.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I was thinking, so we do have it's like merchandise from Elgin County. I'm contemplating whether or not we wanted to add like a gift card or something to it. I don't know. Jenna, you might be able to advise on that. I don't know what the rules are around it, but I'm also happy to contribute that. So I think that's kind of what I'm thinking there.
Yeah. And honestly, I was just trying to, I guess in past instances, that's what we've just done is we bought a basket and, just bought local, whether it's honey, wine, that sort of stuff, and just put it together from local, anything local in our municipality.
I think that's a good idea. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. We can always follow up on that like after the meeting and just send an email back and forth in case there's anything else we needed to touch base on with respect to that. I did actually want to ask the committee if there's any ideas around, like I'm happy to put together information items and stuff to bring, but I'm kind of at a loss other than wanting to have something relating to membership. I don't know if we're going to be able to have the membership applications yet. Jenna, I did want to ask you about that. I don't know if you can weigh in on that.
I think it would be okay to bring our existing application at this time, and I think they would still be valid even if we change the committee procedure for reapplying for the next council term. So I think, yeah, I think you can bring the existing one.
That sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then I was thinking I will make sure that we have a couple copies of that on the table. If we don't have all the information in terms of what the advisory committee, I think it does contain a lot of it though, in terms of what we do, like what our role is. I was going to maybe put together something for that. But in terms of other items relating to accessibility, since we're predominantly going to be there as the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee, I'm not sure what else we might want to bring, if anything, or if we're mostly just going to be focusing on trying to see if anyone's interested in joining the committee. But if anyone has any ideas on that, please let me know. I'm always happy to put something
Not so
together.
much an idea, Sarah, but just a question about who will be attending this? The general
So
public or?
yeah, it is open to the public. I think they're just hoping to get as many people out there as possible, basically. I know that Tracy said that sometimes it can be a bit tough to get people to come. So we're trying to get advertisement out. Part of the reason we're doing a partnership with our advisory committee and their advisory committee for this event is because we're hoping that it'll reach a wider audience. So I have sent out the advertisements to all our local municipalities as well and asked them to advertise it. And I believe I also sent out some information to Middlesex, and just in case anyone out there is interested, even though it's not within their county, they might still be interested in coming and seeing what it's all about in the event that they might want to host something like that in the future in Middlesex. So yeah, we're hoping to see people basically in the community come out. It's intended to be like all things relating to accessibility. So it's definitely beneficial information, not only for like businesses to have, but also for people with disabilities or just members of the public. Awareness and educational information, I'm sure, will be provided. Door prizes, I think, are going to be brought by all the vendors. So I'm sure there's going to be some really exciting stuff there. And then, as you can see, they do mention refreshments, and they're going to have exhibits. I'm not sure what the difference between the exhibits and vendors will be, but I'm sure it'll be really interesting. I'm excited because I think it'll be a great opportunity to get to know some of the other community vendors that we have that work in the field of accessibility. And I think that it would be great for us to know about them in terms of maybe partnering with them in the future. So, yeah, it's really intended to be for the public. So if you know anyone who's interested in going to this, please do spread the word.
I was just going to say that I'm sure I can share it with, unless they already know, but I would share it myself with like the YWCA. I have good connection with them. In fact, I'm going to be volunteering as their receptionist beginning next week, 1 day a week. So
nice.
I think that'll be a good spot to share it with. And obviously the senior center itself, with all the seniors that come in there, possibly across the street at some city housing, might be an idea at 200 Chestnut, and any other places I can think of. So is there a poster or anything that I can?
Yeah, absolutely. I will send out an email after the meeting is over with all of the advertisements attached. So
Okay.
if you have their emails, or if you wanted to just forward it on to them, please do. That would be great. I know we've been posting it on social media channels. I believe St. Thomas has been doing a lot of heavy advertisement. When I notice like their vendors are all, I think, sharing it. So it should be reaching a pretty big audience, but yeah, in terms of wanting to target specific places of businesses that might not currently be vendors, but interested in coming, that would be great. So
Okay,
I
so-
will definitely send that to you, and that would be
Thank
fantastic.
you, Sarah. And I'm interested in attending.
Okay, that sounds good.
Like, would you like someone to be at our table? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so I think Diane and I will be there for sure. So we'll just probably, I'm assuming there's chairs, and I think we would just, St. Thomas has all of the tables and chairs, but I think we would just be setting it up before the event starts, and then we would just be there to interact with the members that are attending the event. So yeah, it
Okay,
would be
so
great to have you there.
Yeah, I'm interested in taking part that way.
That sounds great. I just wanted to know, Doug or Tom, are either of you interested in coming, or even if you're not interested in necessarily coming to the table, but attending the event, that's also a great idea. Whichever you prefer to do.
I
If you're
have it
available.
marked. I have it marked down, Sarah, and right now I'm available, so certainly make every effort to be there.
Sounds good.
And likewise, Sarah, I also have it down to attend.
Okay, sounds awesome. So yeah, so I think Diane and I will probably be there a bit early because we're gonna want to set up. Or I know I can't speak for you, Diane, but I know I will be going early. And I'm assuming that you would also be. And so if the three of you want to try to come anytime between the 1 to 3 time or show up for the whole event, that sounds good. We'll just make sure that we have enough seats for everybody. Yeah, so that's awesome.
And
So
Sarah, I'm assuming within the material that you're putting together for our table would include our successes or those things that we've been able to assist in putting in place in our communities.
That is a great idea. Thank you. Because I don't know why I just couldn't think exactly of what I wanted to do, but that's fantastic. And maybe what I'll do is I'll incorporate, maybe I'll do it on a slideshow or something. I'll have to think about how I can pull that together, but I'm sure I can get something. And I'll just use some of the projects that have been done over the past like 5 years, let's say, because I think
Right.
that would be good to incorporate.
Michelle, that's a really neat, really good idea because it'll help people understand what, as a committee, we do and what we cannot do.
Right, exactly.
That sounds good. I think we'll incorporate that, and then I can also like talk about any of the future ideas that I think we'll be taking on based on our multi-year accessibility plan that the advisory committee will be involved in. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, so we'll bring something that talks about their successes and like make sure that we're clear on what our role is in the community and how we operate, and then bring membership applications in case anyone's interested in joining. We did, I believe, have somebody that had shown interest in joining our committee already, which is great. So I will be giving them the official membership application once it's completely finalized. So there is already one person that has reached out to join our committee, which is really great news.
Sorry, Sarah, was that the one from Belmont that I sent you?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I had sent some information back that they were asking about, and they indicated that they are interested in joining. So that is fantastic. So yeah, okay, that sounds good. I think that's all for this. I don't know if there's anything else. If there's any other ideas that pop up between now and let's say early next week, because I want to make sure I have time to pull this stuff together, please do just let me know. Text me, send me an email. I'm happy to put some stuff together. But Michelle, that was a great idea. So I will definitely do that.
And please, so Sarah, just, if there's any of the, successes that Central Elgin can provide to you, as in there may be some pictures and that sort of thing, photos that I can get for you, let me know.
That would be great, actually. And I was planning to follow up. I'm just going to make a quick note here. Follow up. And
Just again, I'm sure we already have some existing photos. You know, the concrete path on the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, the beach
Will be that.
wheelchairs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Just some of
I,
those things that we already have existing, you know, so we don't have to reinvent or go out and take a picture now. I'm sure we have some of that already
yes,
in our
that sounds good.
files. Okay,
Yeah, that sounds good. If you have an idea of like, so I'm gonna put together a list based on what I have documented, but obviously because I wasn't here during, like I've only been here for a year, I won't know of all the projects for the last 5 years. So if you do have a list of some of the big projects that you know of and have some pictures, we'll connect over email and we can incorporate those. And then I will also get some pictures of the elevator that has been completed in the county building. So that's very exciting. And so I will have to get some pictures of that. And I apologize, I totally just realized that I didn't incorporate that into this slide and I should have done that. So when I get pictures, I'll also share it with the committee. The elevator project, I believe, is completely done. I know they're doing other renovations in the building. But yeah, so that's exciting. So,
I'm
okay.
sorry, the existing project
This is the one that was going on.
or the
for
one at
quite-
the south
Yeah.
end? Okay, I
Yeah.
was gonna say the front isn't done yet.
Oh, it's not completely done? Ah,
No,
okay,
just
thank you.
drive by it, you can tell.
Yeah, no, we're
I
totally
know they're
entering
doing
from the
other
rear.
work. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I know they're doing other work, but I hadn't known for sure if the elevator was completely finished or if there was other work that was happening around.
They haven't
it,
even
but
finished the
okay.
north end. They haven't even started the south end.
Only works going down.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, they've done it on the one side, or they've done some work on the one side. But yeah,
Yes.
it's an ongoing project. I know they're doing some on all the different floors. I believe they're also working on the council chambers.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of construction going on at the building, but it's very good stuff.
Mhm.
Okay,
okay.
so I think that's just it for this one. If anyone else needs to mention anything about this, just let me know. We can come back to it.
We'll drop you an email or a text. Sarah, if we can move on then to the Alzheimer's Society discussion and accessibility training. But are we,
Is it the Alzheimer's Society one? That's the one, is it after or before the content style and design guide?
it's before.
Sorry. Okay, I got my slides mixed up. So I did have a meeting with Alzheimer's Society and with Susan Oster and Ashlyn Humphrey. So they are, I know that they're involved in 2 different branch locations. I think one is Middlesex and one is Elgin, if I'm not mistaken, or they're located in those counties. So we talked a lot about how we can maybe work on improving education and awareness across the county with respects to different topics relating to accessibility. This is something that I've been really interested in, but just haven't had the chance to get to because there's been other projects that have taken priority. So the hope in the future, I think, is to consider teaming up with different organizations to share resources and offer information sessions in the future to staff on different topics relating to accessibility. So one of them, of course, would be on Alzheimer's and dementia awareness. So we could talk about things with respects to how we can improve services for it, or, you know, how staff can be aware of the like inclusive aspect of it and how we can make sure that we are accommodating, especially because we do have long-term care homes. I kind of think that that might be something we could look into doing just kind of as a educational session that we do every now and then, just to kind of keep everybody like on the up and up with any new information that comes out. They also did share resources. One is regarding neighborhood safety and the other is an audit checklist for making public spaces dementia friendly. So I will be looking into those more. And I know that with respect to the integrated accessibility standard regulations, they have a lot of really good requirements that we have to follow when it comes to the built environment and outdoor spaces. However, obviously those are limited in the sense that we can't always do very specific requirements pertaining to different types of disabilities. So it's always good when we have additional knowledge provided on how we can keep those in mind when we're looking at some of the projects that we're doing in the future. So I thought the meeting was really productive. It was really great to get to know what they're doing on their end and also share what we do on our end. So this is something I think that this event that we're attending will also allow us to build those connections as well. And I think that we can look into doing some sessions, information sessions in the future, whether we do it through the advisory committee for some of them, or if we do it specifically with staff at the county level and the local municipal partner level. Either way, I think it would be a really beneficial thing to have. And also the resources alone are really valuable for us to add to our list. So I think my hopes is in the future to also expand on the web pages and make sure that we have a web page where we can possibly share some of the resources that we receive from some of these organizations. So that's the gist of what this meeting was about. If anyone has any questions, let me know. But I will be continuing to share updates once I have a chance to talk with both my bosses at both counties to kind of see what the next steps would be in terms of actually implementing something like this. And of course, it probably won't take place until 2023 after the election and everything is over and the new advisory committee is formed. But yeah, this is something I think would be a really great project to take on. So that's the hope for next year.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. And there's lots of potential. Well done. Accessibility projects update, accessibility content, style and design.
Okay, so that's this slide. I know my slides have gotten a little messed up, but bear with me. Okay, so there's two different designs, there's two different guides that I've created. So initially I had one guide and we decided to split them in two. The first one is the accessibility content, style and design guide. And the second is creating accessible documents guide. So the first guide really looks into how can we make sure that all of our documents, especially the ones that are being shared with the public, are uniform, accessible, and they have we have certain colors that we adhere to, font types, font sizes, and it basically goes over information around the type of language we're using. We want to make sure it's accessible and inclusive language. And so things like that is what's addressed in the first one. The second one is specifically information on how to make the document accessible. So it's like step by step, how you can go and make your PDF documents accessible or your Word documents accessible, social media posts, stuff like that. And the intent of this, as I mentioned at the previous meeting, the intent of this is to make sure that we're compliant with the Integrated Accessibility Standard Regulation, specifically the WCAG 2.0 level A and AA. So this falls under that. So both guides are being taken to council as an information item this Wednesday, so tomorrow. They have been taken to a management meeting and approved by senior leadership already. So that was one of the steps we did. And then the other thing was communication staff and HR have made edits to both guides. So these documents, because this is kind of a complex, especially accessible documents and accessible website stuff, is somewhat complex in some respects. They're currently technically in the draft stage, and I think they'll remain in the draft stage for a while, because I believe what will happen when I start training is new accessibility issues that maybe weren't already included might come up, and I'll want to include the steps for those in case they happen again. So I think that they'll probably be continued to be edited, but for the most part, the structure and everything will stay the same, and the information included in it already will remain. The website is planned to be redone sometime. I believe we're going to have it put on the budget for 2023, but I anticipate we might not see it completed until 2024. And so there will be a new section added to the guides to make sure that we maintain accessibility on the website. Currently, we are working on making sure that the current website is as accessible as possible. So that's something that's ongoing. I've been doing a lot of screening of all the documents, fixing all the PDFs, fixing the web pages, making sure the links are working and that they are accessible. So that will be an ongoing thing that we're working on. And then lastly, we will be doing training with all the departments of the county and any local municipal partners that are interested in having training specifically on document accessibility. So I have put together some information on the instructions, and I will be making it customized. So it will take documents that are actually created by that specific department. I'll screen the documents and then I'll go through them and talk about how they can be made accessible and any consistent accessibility issues that they have, we will address those in the training session. So that is the next step right now that's being done with respects to these guides. If anyone has any questions, let me know. I have not posted these guides online. I'm not sure that they will get posted online, but they have been shared with the local municipal partners. And of course, if anyone specifically requests it, I can share it, but they are internal documents for all intents and purposes. So if any of you are interested in seeing the ones that are currently the most updated versions, though, I'm more than happy to send them via email so that you can see the guides. So yeah, I think that's all for this. Does anyone have any questions about it?
Excuse me. Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Nobody else having questions? Then let's move on to not that you're not busy enough, but what about other current and upcoming projects? The updates on them.
Okay, so I have a very brief list. This does not include a lot because I suspect with the election, the local municipal partners are very busy right now. So the full list of updates with respect to projects that have happened in 2022 specifically will not be collected until the end of the year. And that will go on our joint accessibility status report. But for right now, I just wanted to mention a few things. So I have compiled a list of diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility training that is available online. Once that list is completed, I will circulate that. They are free, so they're just good resources to have. And I have, the word is slipping past my mind right now, but screen them essentially. Like I have done the training myself just to see how the videos are and make sure that they align with the information that we want to be putting out to our staff members. Almer earlier this year had indicated that they are going to be, or that they have updated Willow Run recreational trail to ensure the slope requirements were met. And I believe they made sure that the other requirements under the IASR for recreational trails were also met. Malahide recently informed me that they are reconstructing the ramp that's outside the accessible entrance at the municipal building. And they have a bit of a challenge with parking because currently the parking lot is being used for overflow with a dealership that's across the road. So they are going to be working with Elgin County to add 2 on-street accessible parking spaces right in front of where the ramp is to make sure that there's access both to the parking and to the ramp. So that's an exciting project that's happening. West Elgin has added, as we know, the on-street accessible parking space on Rodney. So that, I believe, has been completed. And the last time I had brought the construction plan so everyone can see what they were going to be doing. I have had several local municipal partners reach out about getting accessible document training. So that will be the upcoming few months. That will be something that will be taking place this year and next. And then all local municipal partners have indicated that they're interested in partaking in the diversity, equity, and inclusion plan that the county is creating. So I do have that in a working draft right now, but I decided to put it on hold, both to prioritize the accessible document training and also because I know with the election that things are just really busy right now. So it's not a great time to be bothering our local partners to provide a bunch of information on that. So that's something I will pick up again after the election. And I suspect that will probably not be finalized until 2023. And the accessibility training will be offered and provided to all interested local municipal partners for their new councils, as well as Elgin County Council. So I will be updating the training that we have currently, and then I will send out an email closer to the time when the council is being finalized to let everybody know that I am offering training if anyone wants it. And I will either go in person or I can do it online, whatever is easier. To provide training to the new councils. So that will pretty much cover it for all of the upcoming accessibility projects and updates that I have. Diane, I just wanted to know if you had anything to add to that list with respect to Central Elgin. I know that we'll be following up on what Central Elgin has done at the end of the year as well.
Yes, certainly. And I'm sure that there's probably some, I'm going to say some accessible additions to some of our parks. We've created a couple of new parks throughout Central Elgin, and I know for sure that there was accessible features put into those parks.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very exciting. So yeah, we'll make sure to touch base on that when we do the status report So that won't be till the end of the year after you get the
Yeah.
election out of the way.
Please and thank you. Mhm.
Do we have pictures of those features, Diane, by any chance to use?
I'm sure
at
they
the,
would. Yeah, I'm sure I can ask staff. I'm sure that whoever has been the project lead on those has been taking photos
Yeah.
of the progression of the park.
Okay,
Okay.
lovely.
Sounds great. Okay, so I think that's it for the updates at this time.
Thank you, Sarah, very, very much. Jack membership under new business, last item. What would you wish to talk about or share with us this morning?
So I just wanted to touch base on this one last time. Oh, sorry. So yes, just to confirm, I know you mentioned this earlier, Mr. Chair, it is the last committee meeting. We will be disbanded once council is disbanded as well. And then of course we know that our committee will get reformed at the same time that, or actually it'll be after, sorry, that the new council is announced. So the new committee, as I put in the slideshow here, will be formed after, and it will not start until January 2023. So I believe Jenna, I think, is working on a process that we're going to use for reaching out to all current members to see if any of you are interested in rejoining the committee. I'm hopeful that you are, but of course, we will send out something to all of you and basically see if you're interested in rejoining. And then membership applications will start to be sent out, but we do need to make sure, I think, that it's finalized. So I will be taking some to the event. But just in case that the application gets altered, I suspect I will not be sending it out past the event until it's completely finalized. So probably starting in October, maybe we would start to send it out. But I think the real advertisement will probably not take place until closer to November, December, when we'll really start to push to see if we can get members if needed. We just want to make sure that we fill the numbers, hopefully, that we're aiming to have on the committee. And then beyond that, I'm not sure if we ever go beyond the number that I think it's a minimum. Jenna, I don't know if you're able to confirm that actually. Is it a minimum number for the committee? I feel like I should know this, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know off the top of my head. I would have to check the terms of reference.
Yeah, no problem. That sounds good. So yeah, so I think as far as membership goes, Jenna, I think you'll be following up. We'll follow up with the existing members, and yeah, that's pretty much it with respects to that. I know there was discussion from the local partners at one point about whether or not they wanted to have representation on the committee. When I was looking at the terms of reference, I realized though that because Elgin County is one of the two municipalities that are involved in this committee, the members for Elgin County can technically come from any of the other municipalities. So I don't know if we're going to be adding specifically other municipalities or not, because essentially I would have to talk with them. If we add a new municipality, then they have to adhere to all the rules, which includes the consultation rules. However, unless they have 10,000 in population, they technically don't have to join the committee. So I think at that point, it's kind of just up to them whether they want to. I might encourage Malahide. I know Malahide's population is about 9,300, so they're getting close to that 10,000 threshold. Maybe they would be interested, but and Almer, I think, is also getting up there, but I think they're still only in the 7,600 or so. I checked all the populations this morning on the 2021 census because I wanted to see if any of them we're getting closer to that threshold. So in terms of whether or not we actually add other municipalities to it and it becomes like a advisory committee that includes more than just Central Elgin and Elgin County, that I'm not 100% sure of, but members can still join from any of the municipalities because they fall under Elgin County. So we will definitely advertise that, and we will also make sure that any existing members that want to rejoin are prioritized, because it's absolutely fantastic to have you on the committee. And I think that is all for membership updates. I'm not sure that there's anything else to add to this, but
Sarah, I just did want to comment just on the committee. I believe it is 5 members because currently Arn unfortunately hasn't been attending. And we did have the resignation of Harry Muir
Yeah.
that we just didn't replace because I think we felt that we were, close to your term being ended. To bring a new member on may not be beneficial. But and again, I'm sure if my memory serves me right, I think your composition is 5.
Yes, yes. So it is 5. We actually will need to double check the terms. I think that the numbers that are let me see if I can pull that up really quickly. 1 minute.
And just again, keeping in
that
mind
there's-
that typically the Central Elgin deputy mayor position has been the one that has served on the board, because then they're representing the county and Central Elgin as a joint committee.
Yeah.
But again, we can certainly confirm all of that for the committee before we start.
Yes, we wouldn't want to add anyone else unless that was actually approved. So I know there was a discussion with Julie Gagnon at one point about it, but I think we hadn't reached any conclusion around that. So at this point in time, because obviously we would have had to consult, like once Julie had kind of decided what she thought would be the best approach, we would have had to connect with you, Diane, to make sure that Central Elgin was also on board with that. And we did say in that discussion that even if we were considering adding other municipalities before they reached that 10,000 population requirement, that we would want to figure out if Central Elgin should still somehow be prioritized to make sure that you have greater representation. So basically that do we need to make sure 2 of the members are Central Elgin and then the rest can be from somewhere else. So that's kind of something we had talked about.
Yeah, for sure.
So if I just go to this really quickly, this is the updated one, but I do think there's a little bit of discrepancy in the number. Yeah, so I think we just have to update this. So I believe it is supposed to be 5, but I think this needs to say 4. And this needs to say 3. So there's just a bit of a confusion on the number right now. So I think we just need to update that. Unless we wanted, that's something actually I figured we should probably talk about. I know Jenna and I had briefly touched on it, but I did want to check in with the committee before we made the change as well, actually. So we can either change, I don't know, this might also be something that council has to decide, I'm assuming, but regardless, there's obviously the numbers don't add up. So either we reduce the member number to 4 and it stays the same, or we up these numbers to 4 residents or 3 residents and a member from the community.
Okay.
So we'll have to, I don't know if anyone has any comments on that, but I suspect because council is going to be, I think the process is that council reviews everything. Again, yeah, Jenna's saying yes. She would know much better than I. So this will probably be addressed at that time as well. Yeah, and then I think I was planning to go through it and just see if there's anything that I recommend in terms of changes. So Dan, I think I will touch base with you actually on that because it is a joint committee. So I want to make sure that we're both on the same page in terms of the recommendations. And then we can present that. So yeah, but yeah, so in terms of membership, I think that'll have to get cleared up with council just to make sure that this is the correct numbers. But as it stands, technically 5, I believe. So yeah. And we did try to advertise to get somebody to replace Harry, but unfortunately, we just didn't get any interest in the membership. So it is great though that we do have someone who's already reached out before we've even started advertising for next year. So I think that's awesome. And we'll just have to see if we can get some more interest depending on how many of you guys are interested in returning. So yeah, I think that's it from me though, in terms of the membership updates. I don't know, Diane, if there's anything else to add to that.
I don't have anything currently. I think you've covered a lot of information for the committee today.
Awesome.
Indeed, it has been. Thank you. That moving us to item 6, next meeting to be determined, Sarah.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Tom.
under new business, could I ask a question pertaining to handicap parking, whether it's paid or free? Many of you realize we've had a lot of discussion about parking in Port Stanley.
Yeah.
And I've had people express opinions that in some municipalities, the handicap parking is free and should be, and that perhaps Central Elgin Council need to address that. I wonder if, has this ever been discussed at this committee? Opinion as to whether we should or not?
To my knowledge, no, Tom, not during my term.
I guess I was wondering what the thoughts are.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Diane.
I can tell you that I'm sure it was before Doug's term, but it did come to this committee. The committee at the time had indicated that they were not opposed to the fee because they wanted to be treated as inclusive. They felt that they wanted to be treated like, I'm going to say, an individual without a disability. So they felt that if there was a spot allocated for them, but they still felt the payment was in keeping with the flavor of them being inclusive. So that's the background on that. It did come to this. I mean, I've been on it since 2002, so I can't tell you what year that was, but I know there was a discussion when we first implemented some of those parking spaces. And that was the opinion of the committee of the day.
Thank you very much.
And wouldn't it, be a way that we could research that a little bit for perhaps throughout the province, somewhere, somehow, that tends to be the feeling of the majority of persons with disabilities. Personally, I don't have a disability, but it makes sense to me that you don't treat them as special all the time. And saying, well, they get it free, but all us regular people have to pay. And I get that kind of that notion. So it would be interesting to know what is the general feeling out there, and therefore to answer Tom's question, it's like, shouldn't we be perhaps promoting it in the other municipalities that they follow suit, if that indeed is the way we should address it?
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I-
yes, Tom.
I guess the reason there is confusion, say someone was living in another municipality, London, wherever, and if it was free there and they come down, that's confusing when they go to park. So I think Central Elgin is actually addressing it with signage to address that, but it's,
Yeah.
I just thought I'd bring it out. I guess I'm open-minded on it, but I think most handicapped people want that to be treated equal. And like, I have a handicap parking pass. I don't use it very often, but I have no problem being treated the same. But I think there's that misinformation in some of the general public. That's why I brought it up today.
Appreciate that very much, Tom, because as a consumer who's moved to Port from another community, information is important to be, just the signage posting is important because there is consistency across the board. So with tourism, Port Stanley, I speak to, being a hub for tourism, persons looking for accessible parking spots, tell us up front. I mean, if we need to pay, we pay. But if it's not, then make that be known as well. So I appreciate Diane and Tom, what you're both saying in terms of maybe a little bit more study in terms of and Michelle, what's happening elsewhere, so that we can revisit that conversation from another time in light of the ODA and in light of any other legislative changes, both municipal and provincial levels. So thank you both. Thank you all.
And just a comment, if the paid parking remains in place for everyone, anybody with a disability can bitch about it the same as the rest of us do.
Exactly. No, oops, that was going to be the wrong thing to say, but thank you, Michelle.
If
That was-
If I may, Mr. Chair, I did just want to add, so I am happy to look into this further if that's something you're interested in. I can do some research and see what other municipalities do. I think it's a torn topic in the community, right? Because on the one hand, I would agree that there is this desire to be treated the same as everybody else. So, you know, you don't want, special rules because you don't want to feel like you're being othered, essentially. On the other hand, we also have to recognize that there are a lot of people with disabilities on a fixed income, ODSP. So, you know, anything to reduce fees for them, given that, is also potentially seen as more equitable. So it is a tough conversation because I think that you will find that there's a pretty big divide in terms of how people want to be treated. And I think that comes down to a lot of factors, type of disability, work, if they're working or if they're on fixed income, and, you know, just their general, like kind of barriers that they face in their life and how they feel about that. So I don't know that it would be something that would be a bad idea to revisit, but of course it wouldn't just apply, I think, in Central Elgin. I think this would be something we could consider doing a countywide survey on if we really wanted to go that far with it. Alternatively, I can see if there's any research or any information available on what other municipalities and counties are doing across Ontario to deal with wheelchair parking, or sorry, not just wheelchair parking, but parking for people with disabilities who have the accessible passes, and then come back to the committee and just present the information that I found. But based on, you know, what your preference is, I can go either way with that. And yeah, it might be worth revisiting if it's been a few years now since it's been discussed. But all in all, I think you'll find that it's a pretty divided topic in terms of how people feel about whether it's free or not free. And this applies to a lot of different things, not just accessible parking, right? This is also why we talk about things like, should we have reduced fares on buses for seniors or people with disabilities? Because again, it's typically fixed income that we're thinking about, and how we can make it more equitable. So yeah, I just wanted to add that to the conversation. Let me know if you would like me to go either way with it. I'm happy to find some information on it. Diane, I don't know if that would be helpful. I'm assuming just to see what other municipalities are doing, but that doesn't indicate that will necessarily change the rules, but just gives us an idea of the topic and what other people are doing about it. So, yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. Deputy Warden Tom, is the review of parking in Port Stanley, has that been completed or is that ongoing?
Parking ends the 1st of October. Last night, council decided, councillor asked for a quick review at our next meeting to get some indication what worked, what didn't work, just a summary. With that information, that'll be more of an update. I would assume, you know, until the 1st of May, the following year, the new council will fine tune it, see what went well, what didn't. There's lots of opinions. So I think most on council have an open mind, and if we can make it better, that's what we want to do. That's why I brought up this, you know, we get tired of signage, but I did not want someone assuming it was free and then end up with a whopping fine. So, you know, so we're learning all the time, you know, best intentions, and sometimes, oh, didn't think of that. So I think, and we're looking for a permanent solution for parking down there.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking in terms of you're raising the subject, and thank you for that. But also looking at accessible parking as part of the revised parking strategy, sort of integrating it within that.
There is a parking survey that council put out, and it should be done shortly. So there'll be some input coming from that.
Very good. Thank you, Tom, very much. Next meeting, we're at it. Last item on the agenda. Sarah, do you have remarks? If
Sorry,
not,
is there another item on the agenda, or are we?
I'm just at item 6, next
That's
meeting.
all, yeah.
If no, do you have any comments before we say our thank yous and best wishes?
I don't know if I have anything else to say, aside from just, I hope that you all consider joining again. It's been absolutely fantastic being on this committee with all of you, and I've learned a lot, and I really enjoy being able to have these discussions. I think they're very productive and very important to Elgin County and Central Elgin. So I really thank you all for your time. And I really hope you consider joining us again. And I don't know, Diane, if you have anything to add to that, but I think that's it from me.
No, again, I would feel the same as Sarah, encourage you all. You've all been very, it's been a beneficial committee and you've all contributed. So certainly, as Sarah said, through the process, it would be the hope that you would reapply and we'd get some additional applicants that would bring value to the committee as well. So thank you.
And
And Doug, just so I understand about that next meeting, am I right to assume it would happen in January?
after the new council has been sworn in.
Okay,
would be
And that
my
doesn't happen,
understanding.
council doesn't get sworn in until December.
Yeah.
So
So the earliest
just
would be
procedurally, it would
January.
make sense that you would go would do a meeting in January.
okay, great, thanks.
From me to each of you, thank you all. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to work with you. And over the course of the time we've been working together, been some pretty exciting and successful projects, challenges, and on a rare occasion, interventions to see that our communities have the resources and tools and the individual foresight to look within and see how they can make their communities a more inclusive, accessible place to want to live, work, and play. And to each of you, thank you. So that would be our meeting for today. We have a motion for adjournment.
I
So
motion
move.
to adjourn.
Deputy Warden Marks, seconded by Ms. Horton. Take the vote. Adjourn. Yes, yes, that's 3 yeses. Thank you all very much.
Thank you,
Good.
Doug.
Been
Thank
a
you.
slice.
Appreciate
Be
it.
well.
Take care,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
You all
Bye-bye.
be well. Thank you. Thank you,
Well.
Sarah.